Good afternoon, everybody. Thanks very much for sticking around to this time. It's nice to have people in the room when you're talking. I'm going to talk a little bit, give you a little bit of an overview of landscaping patent information for IP strategies. And this is a quick outline of what I'm going to talk about. First, I'm going to tell you a little bit about me and my company, so you know where I'm coming from, what my prejudices are, talk about what I mean by landscaping, give you some examples, give you some ways, or try to show you some ways in which landscaping is of value to my clients in making business decisions, and how it does get them to a decision. So first, about where I come from. My company, you'll see me listed in the attendees as ChipWorks. My company, ChipWorks, and my biggest competitor, Tech Insights, did a deal to combine companies last June 1st. As of January 1st, we are one legal entity. As of Monday, if you search for ChipWorks, you'll find Tech Insights, and that's not a mistake. We are now the new Tech Insights, the big logo there, which makes us the biggest, and I hopefully the most effective reverse engineering and technology analysis company in the world. We've got the most extensive database, archives, and history of analysis of technology products in the world, and anything that moves electrons is things that we're interested in. So that goes all the way from semiconductors through consumer electronics products, through software products, this kinds of things. And these are the sort of the fundamentals of our company, just to repeat things again. We understand patents, but I'm not a lawyer. I don't have any lawyers in the company. Our clients use their own inside and external counsel. We work with them. They provide the legal aspects of things. We're strictly providing the technology expertise and mixing in some market understanding. So let's get down into patent analysis and landscape analysis. There's lots of different ways that you can apply landscaping. You can be looking at a company's portfolio. It can be your company looking for white space, looking for surplus patents that you could get rid of. You can be looking at a potential acquisition target. You could be looking at a cross-licensing or a litigation target. You could also be using landscaping tools to look at a specific area of technology to understand what the invention velocity is that's going on there, who's active in that area. You can be looking across a market at a bigger area. But whatever it is that you're doing, you're trying to use these analytical tools to provide data that builds information, that gives you knowledge, that gives you assurance when you're making an IP-driven decision that you're making the right decision. And there's a whole bunch of different types of tools that you can use, and this is just a quick schematic that talks about that. Classification tools and clustering tools that use things like the IPC codes that build things into a specific preset taxonomy, so you can organize like patents together. Once you have patents that you know are good, we have tools that you can train to go off and find more like this. That's always a good way of doing it. You can use simple keyword searches. You can use sort of traditional scoring techniques where you've built in some kind of meta tagging from your subject matter experts, so you can pull things out quickly. There's a whole bunch of ways of doing it. The thing is again, I come from the technology field. My clients have thousands of patents. 10, 20, 30,000 patent portfolios are not unusual. You can't do it all by yourself with just manual searches the way that we used to do. That's way too expensive. It takes way too long. You've got to leverage some of these tools somehow that makes it quicker to get the number of patents that you're working with down to some kind of a manageable number that you can then use those expensive subject matter experts' brains on to really find that key 5%, 10%, or 2%, I should say, of patents that are useful. Here's a kind of an example. This is a technology heat map where we looked at the Internet of Things. The Internet of Things is one of those buzzy words right now, buzzy phrases. The technology guys call it the irrepressibly optimistic thinking, because everything now is the Internet of Things. So the first thing you have to do is define what you mean by Internet of Things. We define it as really having four major subgroups. Things, which are the sensors or your Fitbit, whatever that you wear, that is collecting the data from the world. The gateway and the networks that pop it up into the cloud, the actual computing and storage that's out there someplace in a warehouse that's storing all of this data, and then the analytics that allow you to do something, manipulate it, and do something with that. So once you've defined things tightly enough, you can go and you can find who the players are. Those are the players that are listed along the left-hand side. You can do a heat map then and find out, okay, are there any unusual things in there? Are there any people showing up in the wrong places where you wouldn't expect them? Any kind of funny patchworks. And you can see some things like in VenSense, for example, it's got a nice white box down there, even though they're fairly low down, on things. Not really surprising, they're a sensor company. They make the gyroscopes and things like that are in your telephones. Other companies like Salesforce is down there, not very strong in things in gateways. You wouldn't expect them to be. Really, they're about the back end. They're about the analysis and the compute storage. Another nice tool that you can use are these actual patent landscapes, where you plot a whole bunch of patents on a topographical map kind of thing. This is a very good way of showing a portfolio or showing a specific technology area, where all the points that are on this chart are patents. The points have been colored based on some, again, pre-tagged meta tags that we put in there. So the colors represent for us whether they are representing an electrical circuit, whether it's a patent about packaging, whether it's a patent about a process for building an electrical circuit, or whether it's about a system level patent. And you can see they're kind of clustered together in these different spots. The clustering, by the way, is based on just text analysis, the automatic text analysis that the algorithm does, groups them together where there's a lot of patents that have light concepts. You get a peak, a topographic peak. That tells you got a lot of patents in that area, maybe too many, maybe there's an opportunity to divest of some. Where there's white space, obviously, that indicates you've got some areas where you can perhaps develop some new technology or even acquire technology. The other thing I should mention on here too is the black dots on there are additional data points that we put in. These are patents that Tech Insights has supported in the past. So this helps us understand where our capabilities are coming from and helps our clients understand that even more importantly, and give them confidence that if they come to us to do support in these areas, we've done it before, and we can show them some sort of patents like this that we've developed before. Here's another use case where, first off, a company's looking for technology in the analog to digital converter area for electronic circuits. We've gone in, defined what an A to D converter patent is, what are the particular issues, identify the major inventors, the major patent holders in these areas. Those are the companies. Plotted them, compared them to each other, and now you have a bit of a script as to who you should go to talk to if you're looking for a partner, or if you're looking to acquire patents, or if you're looking to avoid stepping on somebody else's IP area. But remember, I think we've heard this a few times in this conference, and it's something that I like to pound on. A typical portfolio in the technology area, and I'm not a pharma person, so don't shoot me for that, but on the technology area, we usually say it's 3 to 5% of your patents are valuable. Valuable patents are different than quality patents, completely separate. They need to be considered separate concepts. But valuable patents are patents that are used in industry, so they're generating revenue for people, and they're also verifiable. So you can look at the claims, and you can go out and you can support the claims and show that somebody's using this technology. So that's what that top left-hand side box is about, the dots that are in there. And these things change over time as we find new ways of analyzing technology. Some of them will move up into that box. And of course, over time, some of these technologies will come into use, so some of them will move to the top left as well. And equally, of course, some of them will move out. This is an example of what I mean by patent assessment. This is a patent assessment technique that we use, simple ABCD system, where the A patents are things that are well known, they're used in industry, they're relatively easy to detect. So when you're going off and designing an analysis program, you're going to go with the ones that are well known and easy to detect first. Those are the A patents. Maybe you'll throw in some of the B patents that are in between. You're probably not going to touch the ones on the other corner, the D patents, that are really unlikely to be used and hard or impossible to detect. Then you're going to do something like this, where you put together a matrix of your patents, your A and B patents, depending on your budget. You're going to matrix those against the products, or at least the product categories of whoever your licensing partner is, or whoever your company of interest is. In this case, this is a mythical company, perhaps named after a fruit, that makes smartphones, tablets, and desktops, and then a few other things. And just as an example, you may have your patent 7,000,001 that matches up against smartphone and tablet technology. So from that, you'd be able to say, okay, I want to go in and analyze these products to get maximum coverage of my licensing target's revenue. And it's a big problem where to look. You have to be able to find these valuable patents, because it's only the valuable patents that form the basis for your negotiating position. There are 4.5 billion products, electronic products out there in a given year. Each one has about 40 integrated circuits integrated into it, which gives you 160 billion potential places to look. That's a lot of places. So where do you go about looking for things? Product offerings, there's stuff on the internet. When we do product introductions, we like to talk about what it is that we've designed in. Conferences like this, technology conferences, people are disclosing all kinds of things about what's going on. Trade shows was mentioned, I think yesterday, that the ThyssenKrupp fellow was talking about. Trade shows, you can walk the aisles and see what people are telling you. Market research services can help you understanding what are giving the volume to your competitors. You can look at litigations. You can look at what's been disclosed publicly in litigations where they've talked about their products. Of course, there's the patent record. You can look at what people are patenting, and that may or may not be in their products. Just because they have a patent doesn't mean that they're using their own patent. You can look at people's data sheets. You can look at press coverage. And then you can look at things like investor disclosures. There's a lot of stuff that comes out in 10Ks in the US, in the 10K filings. But that still usually gets you only partway there. That gets you indications of use. Ultimately, and again, this is what my company does, this is what we're built on, so I'm biased, but ultimately you've got to take a product apart. What you see there in that picture is the guts of an iPhone spread out. Taking the thing apart tells you what are the circuits that are involved in that. It allows you to go in and probe and look at electrical activity. If you have an algorithm patent, it's going to allow you to give every element of a claim when you're producing evidence of use rather than indications of use. So let's say we were looking at that solid-state microphone that was in there on the left-hand side. That's this Knowles product over here. It came out of that Apple iPhone. We have this huge database of teardown information that a lot of my clients have smaller versions of that tells us, okay, these are the products that came from our Apple iPhone. We can turn that around and we can say, okay, this microphone, it's in a bunch of iPhones. It's also in a Samsung Galaxy. So that helps you with your infringement contentions. You know, not only is this analysis going to be good for getting me into this one iPhone, it's going to be getting me into iPhones that are used in several different markets around the globe. That expands your damages base. And if I feel like talking to Samsung later on, I've got something going on that as well. So evidence of use or indications of use, it's essential. It doesn't come out of landscaping tools. It comes out of people taking things apart. Indications of use, you can sometimes get a lot of that off the internet. If you're using something to leverage a patent sale, and it does leverage a patent sale by, Richardson Oliver says at least 40% increases the value of your patent portfolio. Our experience is that you can leverage a patent portfolio sale by several times, 2-3x at least, in the value and in the probability that you're going to sell it, because nobody's buying patents that aren't valuable these days. It gives you credibility in licensing negotiations. You don't have to have litigation-ready claim charts on every patent in a negotiation, but you have to have enough of them that you get the other guy's attention, that he understands the value of your IP. And ultimately, if your negotiations fail, you need this level if you're going to take them to court. So just to summarize then, patent landscaping, it generates all kinds of data at the bottom of its